Good morning and welcome to our weekly community catch-up. My name is Andy Belford. I'm the community manager for Dawngate and Waystone Games. Joining me today is Alex Hetu, the lead systems designer for Waystone Games slash
Scooting
Dawngate.
over here.
Are you
There we go.
scooching? Are you comfy? You good?
Mhm.
Are we situated? Let's make sure we're looking good here. Hold on. Let's see. Are we centered? Is the video?
All right,
The video is centered.
we're looking good.
I think we look fine. I think we're good. Hello, chat. How are you doing today? No dumb questions. No dumb questions. Hi, Waystone Buell. Hi, Andy Belford and Gasty Wonderfish.
It's my Final Fantasy character's name, so
Your Final Fantasy character's name is Gasty Wonderfish.
Yeah, bro.
Wonderfish.
That's how I roll.
No, that's quite the name. How's Final Fantasy going for you, by the way?
It's okay.
It's okay.
I basically beat it, and now I can't do any more content in it. So
Oh wow.
now I'm just waiting for them to do stuff.
So you
introduce things to do.
You have beat the internet. Good Chaos says what? It's not a server. It's a link shell, right?
No, there's servers. So it's like WoW, like you play on a server.
Right, but they don't call them.
No, they call them servers. Link shells are guild or like chat channels.
Oh, okay. Wait a
Uh,
minute. I don't remember this stuff from Final Fantasy 11. Anyways, what
it's
server are you on?
Different game than 11.
Yes.
But anyways, this is not the Final Fantasy morning, but I'm on Ultros.
Okay. Ultros. Awesome. Outstanding. So anyways, this is our community catch-up. Generally speaking, we don't do a whole lot of gameplay on our community catch-up, but what we do is we talk about stuff that's in development, and this is kind of your opportunity to ask lots of questions and get them answered by the developers. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into some of the stuff that we do cover every Wednesday, and it's kind of like our community roundup. First off, I did want to go ahead and jump over to one of our normal spots that we stop at, and that is, of course, the Dawngate subreddit, run by the Venor and his fine folks over there. Over 3,500 subscribers now.
Delightful.
It's growing. It's growing. It's taking its Flintstone vitamins. 10 million. Anyways, I'm just going to stop because that's an old person reference. And nobody under the age of 20 will get that reference. Anyways, is that Brad Pluto Ramey? Or however you spell it. Ramey? That's like the Ramey.
Is that Pluto over there?
That
is
is that
who
Pluto.
is?
That is that Pluto. Anyways, oh, by the way, and we will be giving away beta keys today during the stream. We just do them silently on Wednesday in chat. You do need to be following the channel, so please toss the channel a follow right there and get a chance to win a beta key. So we like to stop over on the subreddit, point out any threads that we think are particularly interesting or driving really good conversation. Did you see any that popped up this week?
So there was quite a few, all touching on various topics about the map discussion this week, since we both have been talking about the map for a couple of weeks now, and in addition to that, we showed off gameplay on the new map. For the first time, I think we've actually shown gameplay on the map yesterday, right. And then we also announced that we're going to be letting the community be able to create custom games on that map starting next patch, and that way you guys will be able to play it, give us even more feedback. So there's been a lot of really good threads about talking, through various aspects of the map, giving people's thoughts. The hot topic certainly seems to be regarding the bindings inside the Guardians kind of base area. So there's been a lot of good discussion around that aspect that we're keeping an eye on for sure.
And we will be continuing that discussion here in just a little bit as we kind of do an open Q&A about the new map and everything. So, but some things to remember when it comes to with the next patch, this map being selectable in the custom games. A few things. One, we're not kind of like shouting it from the mountaintops. You'll notice it's not going to be in the email. This email you receive in your normal emails. There's not going to be like an article about it on the front page or anything like that. And the reason is that this is really something that we don't necessarily want people who are brand new to the game experiencing first time, but we do want people who have been playing Dawngate for a while now and who can see the differences between the two and also can understand that, hey, this map is in early development. As such, it doesn't have art textures. It's missing quite a few things right now.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be, we definitely kind of want only experienced players to be checking it out for the most part, because we don't want to give the wrong impression that our beta is as in an incomplete state as that map might suggest, because that map is extremely early, right? It has minimal art assets. It's still heavily in design. This is kind of a test on our part, just like to see how this process goes, right? We were saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could get more feedback than we're able to get internally on this map? So we were like, well, we can, right? We have a live beta. We could just let people in the beta try it out. So it's really going to be kind of a test for us to see if this process of, hey, how does letting you guys actually play with really early in development content work out for both sides, for both the community and for us. So it'll be an interesting experiment for everybody.
Another thing I did want to point out is I love the Keep the Goats thread. That's the Keep the Ghost thread is very happy. I love the suggestion, by the way, of we should put a little minion on the back of him or a little Archon on the back of him and have him be the one shooting the little bolts out.
It was certainly imaginative. I liked it. Maybe get some fan art of that out there. That'd be
I
pretty
think
good.
I think it could happen. I think it could happen. I'm just saying it's inspiration from the players right there. So, all right, don't encourage laments, please. Please don't encourage laments. I'm sorry, I have to. I thought that thread was hilarious. So, anyways, another thing I wanted to point out actually is this right here. We just announced this morning. We are going to be participating in the Extra Life Gaming Marathon.
Very cool.
Very exciting stuff, and hopefully we'll have even more news about this very soon, as in where we're going to be participating from. But this should be a lot of fun. For those of you who are not familiar with the Extra Life charity, they are basically a gaming-centric charity that raises money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. In our case, we'll be raising money for Children's Hospital of Oakland. It's a great charity. They do a lot of really good work and shine a really positive light on playing video games. And basically what we're going to be doing is streaming for either the entire time or a very large portion of the time and playing Dawngate. And hopefully
seems like a good afternoon plan.
I think it does. It seems like a pretty good plan. So hopefully you guys will check it out. I know some people have been asking, how can I throw my money at you guys, Waystone Games? We want to throw money at you. How about instead of throwing money at us, you throw money at this wonderful charity instead, and in the process, help some kids out. Children's Miracle Network does a lot of great things for sick kids and their families, and so I think that it's a worthy cause.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely come check it out. This will be, like it says here, we're going to kick things off on Saturday. So come watch the stream, help out a charity, experience some Dawngate. So it'll be good all around.
Should be fun. And then of course there's also the our page right there, which you can get to that link by click on that link by going through here, and we can track our donations there. We did actually add some incentives for people who want to donate. So let's say you've been waiting to get that Dawngate key and you haven't been able to yet. Well, donate $10 or more, and we'll send you a Dawngate key just as a thank you. And by the way, I want to say you're not buying a Dawngate key. We're sending you a beta key as a thank you for you donating. If you donate $20 or more, we'll actually send you a 5-use beta key for donating as just a thank you. And then we actually are going to do something very special. We've got a shirt that we're printing up, but we're going to do a limited run of posters of them. I think they're going to be like 11 by 18 or something like that. So not huge posters, but a limited run of posters. We're going to autograph them, and we will send those to the first 100 people who donate over $100 or more. So it's just kind of like our way of saying thank you to you guys for being very generous and supporting Children's Miracle Network, and obviously supporting Dawngate. So hopefully you guys are motivated and excited about it, and as we are, and we'll support these great guys.
Very cool.
So, yep. Come on, paycheck, hurry up. Don't worry, guys. The event itself is actually not until November 2nd, so you have plenty of time. It's Saturday, November 2nd, and we're going to start at 9 a.m. Pacific. So pretty early in the morning, but it's going to be worth it for the children. Exactly. Do you listen to them? They said some people ask us, how can we throw money on us? Who says that? Handsome Jack. Nitro, I'm going to assume the G is silent there. Nitro 1, actually, we have a lot of people who've asked us, how can I donate to Waystone Games? How can I, are you guys doing a Kickstarter and stuff like that? We actually get that question quite frequently. Thankfully, we're kind of taken care of as far as like development costs go, but this is a great way for our community to kind of help us give back to our community, the greater community.
It's true. Unlike Handsome Jack, we do not have a unicorn made of diamonds. So.
This is true. If we donate for the poster, can we do art requests? No, guys. It's the poster. The art's already done for the poster, so that's already all finished, and we're not going to be taking art requests for it. But what we will be doing is actually signing and autographing. We'll have some members of the development team actually sign and autograph the posters before we send them out for you. So, but good question though. Good question. So, anyways, and guys, I do see your questions. Save those for the Q&A. We're going to be talking about the map here soon. One more thing I did want to cover is actually a brand new community site that's been doing some work for the last month and a half or so, and it's the Parasite Post. They haven't actually updated a lot of their content recently, but this is run by the guys who do like the It's a Gosu podcast, the what is it, Dibs Dreamcast and stuff like that. The website is actually really well done, so please encourage them to continue updating, producing content. They've done some really cool videos and stuff like that. Would love to see further development from this. Like, we like seeing new community sites pop up. So
For sure, it's very cool.
yep, absolutely. So, and also be sure to tune into the Dibs Dreamcast. I know they didn't have one this week, but I think they're going to be coming back next week. I believe that Coop IRL, which is one of the guys who runs it, actually will be coming back. He was like moving this week or something. So, but he'll be back online. He'll be back online and doing the podcast again next week. So, so we already have two kind of regular, semi-regular podcasts for Dawngate.
It's true.
Between the Money Pigs podcast and Dibs Dreamcast. So that's exciting.
It is.
Very exciting stuff. So, all right, guys. So let's get into the meat of today. Meat of today is going to be talking about the new map. And I'm just going to go ahead and get into a game really quickly here. We just need a custom game, right?
Yep.
Hey, Plutes, could you jump in a custom game with us, please? Thanks, man. We're on 6. And I'm just going to... Yep. And... Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to walk through the flow of creating one of these games.
Seems prudent.
So anyways, guys, so here's how this is going to work. You will get into the game, and let's say you get 5 people and you want to create a game on the custom map, right? Or you get 10 people and you want to create a game on the custom map. So what you'll do, the new map, I should say, you'll create a custom game right here, and then you'll just hit Create Game, and it's going to be Zwill's game, all right? And you set the skill level, and right here, there's a new field right here. You see this? This is the drop-down that you select the map. So this is the map work in progress. That's the new map that we're working
So
on.
cleverly named.
It is. It's so clever. We should like put like a big thing like in parentheses that says missing textures.
That's right. Play at your own risk.
Play at your own risk, exactly. We don't have our blue streaming light on. Doesn't feel quite like home. Oh no.
It's true. How would the world know that we're streaming?
How will everybody know we're streaming because the light's not on?
Pluto's on the case.
He's on it. He's got it.
Boom.
Alrighty.
Resolved.
There we go. All right. So, anyways, this is the map, and Plute's going to jump into game with us really quickly here, and we're going to go ahead and there's nothing they shouldn't see on the character select screen, right?
If you're on 6,
I'm on Shadow.
maybe.
Yeah.
Probably not. Who knows?
Let's find out.
No, it's fine.
No, okay, everything's fine. Yeah, this is what's going out in the next patch, so it should be safe to show everybody. So, anyways, let's pick Kel just for the crazy amounts of mobility he has if we want to cut across things. Anyways, we'll choose Kel. I don't know why I'm going through and picking this stuff, but whatever. Anyways, all right. And so we can show off the Kel dance. That's
true.
That's
He
a
does.
good reason.
He does have the best dance.
I'll let you drive now, sir. Anyways, so we're just pulling up the map so that you guys can have it as a frame of reference to ask your questions on. So this is your chance to ask questions. Sirasao dance off as well. Never forget. Yes, I remember that. This is your chance to ask questions, guys. So here's how we're going to do this. Put a capital Q with a colon mark next to it, and then ask your questions afterwards. I'm sure that we will get lots and lots of questions, and they will probably start flying by. But just bear with us, guys. If we don't see your question, if we don't ask your question, it's not because we don't like you or we're scared of the question. It's just because we probably didn't see it, or it's just, but we will get to your questions, guys. All right, so... Casus Rice says, this is the first time I've seen Gasty, so hi there.
Hello.
How is this the first time that somebody's ever seen you?
I don't know. Well, I've been on stream for, other than yesterday, for a couple of weeks, so,
Was it a couple of weeks? Okay. Chankoyo, no, we will not give keys by showing them on stream today, unless we have, a silly amount of viewers at the moment.
Nope, we will be giving away keys silently in the channel. If you're following the channel, so make sure you're following the channel. Pluto is back there giving keys away as we speak. So.
Yep, that's right. Demon Scourge asking, is the new map coming soon, TM?
It is coming soon, TM.
Yep. So, and by coming soon, TM, we mean it's going to be selectable in the custom game match soon. It does not necessarily mean that it's going to be like finished, polished, and completely complete.
Right.
That's still a couple months out.
Yeah, so in a couple months, we are looking to completely replace the current map on live with this map. They won't live in, they won't both simultaneously be selectable like they are right. Well, like they will be in the next upcoming patch. So in the next, couple months, we're looking to replace the current map with this updated revision of the Dawn Gate.
Okay. And guys, if you could do us a favor today, let's try and keep the questions focused on the new map. That's going to be, or map related questions. That's going to be, that's going to kind of make the best use of our time today. We have plenty of other opportunities to ask kind of more general questions. We do those all the time here on the live stream. So I got to do that dance. There he goes. Alrighty, Mr. Spunk, I just donated for Extra Life. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. So let's start off. Feth Beta says, I saw something. They say never to catch spirit wells and never defend them. When you kill workers, it will be more useful because they're giving XP. What do you think about this? Will you add experience points to the spirit wells because when you're... Oh, for capture. Yeah.
When you capture a spirit well, it automatically kills all the workers, so there's literally no difference between manually killing each worker and then capturing it versus capturing it when all the workers are alive. So if you capture the spirit well, it kills all the workers, which gives you all of their money and experience,
right,
in addition to starting to generate, and it will then doing a global Vim gain to your entire team, and then starting to gain global Vim to your entire team via workers that you spawn. So it is, generally speaking, strictly better to just capture the well in all circumstances if you can do it.
Right. And additionally, like the global buff is just, it's so much of a team benefit too. It's like you have to think beyond just yourself there. You have to think team benefit wise. Let's see here. Organic was asking, do you recommend playing tournaments on the new map?
That is an interesting question. So it's up to the tournament hosts. I would certainly find it interesting to see a competitive kind of viewpoint of the new map. So we would certainly find that useful, but it is totally up to the tournament organizers.
Yeah.
So.
I wouldn't say there's tacitly anything that would stop them from doing it, with the exception of like some kind of missing functionality on the map, and by that I mean like if you look at the lanes. Oh wait, no.
We
added them.
Everything's totally functional. It's simply unarted. So.
Okay, all right, never mind. So we have all the functionality there. Never mind, just kidding, guys. We originally we'd been playing on a version that didn't even have like the ley lines are missing, obviously, but we didn't have like the range indicators that are kind of like built into the map and stuff. So it's good to see that we added that stuff in. Surprise for me. Let's see here. What if the spirit wells granted faster binding responding? Would that make them something to fight over when you're ahead and behind?
So, our goal with the spirit wells is to be economy-related nodes. Mm-hmm. At least initially, we want to try to make them desirable throughout all stages of the game with that purpose in mind. Mm-hmm. I don't necessarily want to make them overly complex by introducing additional functionality which isn't economy related. I know a lot of people have been questioning, well, when they get max of item builds, right, spirit wells no longer seem desirable to go after, so then they're looking to add additional mechanics. I've seen suggestions related to buffing minions, buffing the Guardian, reducing binding strength, etc., based on Spirit Well capture.
Right.
All of those ideas are things that we could do in the future. None of them are off the table, but we would like to try to solve the issue of, hey, Spirit Wells don't feel impactful enough, that a few people have been voicing via focusing on their economy-related structure. So I don't want to necessarily make them unfocused, so to speak, in terms of their design, in the sense of they're doing a variety of unrelated things. While that may work from a pure mechanics standpoint, it's harder to understand what they're doing from a new player viewpoint, especially when you take into account the fiction of the map and kind of the gameplay focus of, hey, I'm worrying only about money. Maybe I should think about Spirit Wells. When I'm also thinking about, hey, I want to get a stronger push or something, it starts to get a little bit muddied. So we're looking to try to resolve it purely in an economical sense first. If that still doesn't prove to make them impactful enough, then we'd potentially consider additional effects, but we want to do it purely with economy at the moment.
Okay, understandable. Keep the questions coming, guys. If you have questions regarding the new map, this is a great chance to ask those questions. Let's see here. Talking and all. It's a lore question. Um, so Phantom Killer is actually kind of asking a good general question. Could you like basically go over just some of the major differences between the new version of the map and the current version of the map, and I'll let you.
Sure. There's a kind of a couple key points with the new map. So one is the lanes themselves have been increased in length relatively significantly here. They are much longer than the maps you'll see on live, in addition to being a little bit wider.
Hmm.
So laning has that aspect to it. Another difference with laning on the new map is the top and bottom lanes are no longer identical. There are some differences between them in terms of entry into the lane. So you can see on the bottom lane we have a entrance here, 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 here,
Hmm.
here, and you can kind of sneak around this path via this bridge here as well. So you have about
Right.
6 or 7 kind of paths into the bottom lane. Top lane's a little bit more restricted. You have only 2 lane, or 2 entrances rather, on the top, and then you have basically 1 entrance on the bottom. I'm counting a number of entrances basically by how many wards it takes to stop them. So
Right.
that's 3 wards. And then you have sort of a path here, but you have to basically take a tower hit to do it. So top lane's a little bit safer, as opposed to bottom lane, which is a little bit more dangerous. So there's now kind of a incentive to take certain shapers into certain lanes or to form certain strategies, right, around lane composition and team composition.
Okay, so that is intended then. That's actually something that people have pointed out and have expressed a little bit of concern regarding. Like, is that why is that something we want to do?
So it's a good point. People have expressed concern regarding the trying that they believe this might make it a little bit too rigid, right? That you would always send a carry to one particular lane, or you would always send a mage to a particular lane. That's something which we haven't experienced internally yet, so this is one of the reasons why we're releasing the map to the community to see if those concerns are founded. Um, we believe that we've differentiated them enough to create interesting decision making regarding where you send which character. However, they are similar enough that it doesn't create as rigid as a team kind of compositional element as some of the people have been expressing concerns about. So
Hmm.
it's certainly something on our radar that we're looking at as well. We don't want it to be completely rigid by any means, right? That's the whole purpose of the role system in Dongate is to prevent just that, right? So we obviously are taking it very seriously in regarding to making sure we have a variety of flexible metas available. So what we want to do, however, is we want to hit a nice even ground between allowing a variety of different compositional team formations, right, that are all viable, but in addition, give a little bit of predictability as to where certain characters will go.
So, I mean, could you point out some areas and maybe some like lane compositions and stuff like that that you think would actually kind of maybe prosper or flourish, just in your opinion? You know, obviously this is all kind of dependent on what we actually see in practice, right? But
Right. So, for example, if we do like a 1v2 lane, you usually want to do the 1v2 lane top because that is a little bit safer. So it's a little bit harder to get dives on the 1v2 person.
right.
So that's something that we've seen happening. Is like Reyna is a really strong 1v2 or Fenmore is a really strong 1v2er, right? So if
Hmm.
they're running like a double hunter team, then you can probably say, hey, chances are their 1v2 person is probably going to be top. It gives you a little bit of predictability in terms of that person's probably going somewhere, and I can actually buy my starting items in preparation for that.
Okay.
Another thing is, for example, if you play a character which needs heavy protection, like Vex, the new character we just introduced, he's pretty weak laner, but if he can
Right.
get a good, if he can successfully go through the laning phase, then he becomes very strong. He's another character which you can either do something like, hey, you can try to run him top lane with just like one support, or you can try to run him bottom lane with like a tri-lane setup, so you have enough wards to completely make this area very safe.
Right.
And that frees you up to do something interesting, where if you want a tri-lane bottom focused around heavy warding and protection, then you can run the 1v2 lane top pretty successfully with a jungler, right? So it opens up a variety of kind of those compositions have a little more map-related reinforcement.
Okay.
Because we were seeing a lot, and in solo queue, I always expect this to be the case in terms of seeing a 2-2-1 composition, right, where you have a gladiator or a tactician in each lane and then one jungler. That's just simply the combination of roles which requires the least amount of team coordination, so it's probably going to be the one that solo queue tends to do the most. But in terms of organized play, which we see a lot internally as well as some of these tournaments,
Yes.
we see a lot of more interesting strategies, so to speak, right? Such as tri-lanes, double jungle, etc. And we want to make sure that the map can support those interesting strategies just as viably as it supports the regular kind of 2-2-1 composition.
And speaking of which, there was actually a little bit of an aside. There was actually a really interesting post under community guides and strategies talking about tri-lane composition and what shapers are really good in it. So it's kind of like a little tangent, guys. If you happen to have a chance to check out the forums, community guides and strategies, there's a really good post and great discussion going on around that there. So that is why you asked me to go bot lane yesterday in that game.
It's true.
Because you were on Vex. That makes sense actually now.
Right.
So yeah, that does make sense that for a shaper like Vex who has fewer outs, right? Basically, has no escape mechanisms. You do want to go to the safer lane. So
Yep.
all right. I still would have rather been top lane. I prefer in Dawngate, like when I'm farming and carrying, I actually, even on our current map, prefer playing top lane. That's just my personal preference though. Let's see here. Loki, I guess, it says you can get level 2 off the first buff camp when jungling now. With the new jungle rework, is there a greater incentive to clearing other camps at level 1? It does seem that the experience for smaller camps didn't seem that good yesterday. Are you worried that junglers will continue to skip the small camps?
So yesterday on our playtest stream, the jungle did not have the new tuning. It was what I discovered at the end of the stream and made me panic a little bit. So there is a stronger incentive to clear small camps, absolutely.
Right.
The new tuning will be on the playable version we're releasing to you guys with the next patch. So I encourage you guys to play junglers on the new map when we release it to the public
Right.
for our testing phase, and give us your thoughts, right? It's certainly the goal with the tuning to do just what you said, which is to make small camps more desirable.
Do you think that even with the tuning, the current meta for junglers, which is kind of clear all the big camps first and then invade, clear big camps, and then go back through on your way back through your route and clear the small camps along the way is gonna hold true, or do you think people are gonna shift to clearing big camps and small camps at the same time?
It'll probably hold true just because counter jungling is still very strong. Like if you
Yep.
can take the buff camps are worth the most experience, right? They are still by
Yep.
far more experience than the medium camps.
And that's tacitly intended.
That is intended, yeah. And so if you can take a buff from your opponent, it'll always be the best thing to do, right? If you can successfully counter jungle, it's very, very strong.
Right.
What the map changes and the experience tuning is designed to kind of resolve is two issues. One, if you do get your buffs taken, let's say you're the person being counter jungled, then you can still keep yourself afloat on small camps. There's enough experience now to make it so you're not 2-3 levels behind, right? Maybe
Right.
you'll be 1 level behind, or just barely 2, right? The gap will be a little bit closer if you get counter jungled.
So you can spend a little bit of time in lane and actually make up for that then.
Right. You
Right.
shouldn't get too far behind. It should be recoverable.
Right.
The other aspect is it should no longer be viable, or not. It's certainly fine, but it's no longer mathematically optimal, rather, to simply dart between only the objective camps. Before, we'd see people do green and then rush straight to blue, right, and then rush straight to orange, and then take the pigs, and then go counter jungle, and they just ignore all of these small camps on the way.
Right.
It's probably in your best interest now to, if you're doing this long cross-country marathon between buff camps, you probably want to pick up 1 or 2 of the small camps on the way now.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I know that, and keep in mind, guys, I'm a terrible jungler, so I don't know how strong my advice is, but my general approach, when I'm playing jungle these days, especially on a team that communicates well, is usually I'll either try and steal orange here. Let's say I'm starting off on spirit side. Usually I'll try and steal orange here or power, just depending upon which shaper I'm on and what the enemy team composition is. And I'll go back through here under the assumption that if I'm playing an equally competent team, they will have taken kind of the mirror of whatever I'm at some point.
Okay.
With what Gasty's saying, it sounds like, do this and do this, and then probably do a gank after that, right? But along the way, going back down towards haste, towards the haste buff, you probably want to, let's say you're playing Kel, sheep through here, pick up those, and then move down to the haste buff.
Right.
Okay, that's good to know. That's understandable. Keep the questions coming, guys. Will there be new shapers every month? We release shapers on a fairly regular cadence, guys. So we don't have a set schedule of when we get them out. What do you plan to offer people who are turtling to leave their guardian to go to other objectives to make a comeback? Right now, turtling is super boring because you only use 20% of the map. I don't personally, I don't find turtling boring. I mean, my personal opinion is it doesn't seem boring. Like it's actually kind of a test in patience. It's like how patient can your team be, to get to the point where they actually have a chance to fight and to come back into it. It's a strategic play, right?
Right. So turtling is certainly one of the elements that we wanted to at least touch upon with the new map.
Right.
There was two kind of issues um, with ending the game, so to speak, right? One was the Guardian was individually, just with his current tuning, a little too strong in the really early phases of the game. Just like it was, even if you were rolling your opponents, it was really difficult to kind of close out a game within 10 to 15 minutes, right? If you were just totally rolling it, because the Guardian was just so strong. The other element was at about 40-minute mark, right? You could turtle really easily because there wasn't enough pressure on the Guardian. So we don't want to remove turtling. What we've done is, to answer your question specifically, there should be 5 major objectives which are viable for turtlers, right? If you are in a position where you are the one turtling, which means that you're in a disadvantageous position, chances are your opponents control the Spirit Wells. Because Spirit Wells, in addition to having a flat 50 Vim that gets awarded globally, right? So 250 Vim for your entire team globally if you capture it, also bank additional Vim that gets awarded globally based on how much they've mined. So 50% of the entire amount of Vim that mine has ever mined since it has been captured, basically, gets awarded into the bounty when you capture it. So this well right here, for example, one of the back ones, if you're getting pushed really hard and this well's been, untouched for 10 minutes, and you can sneak back there and capture it as a person on the defensive, you'll get a massive amount of money from that, right? You'll probably get upwards of like 600, 700 global Vim for your team just for capturing it. So you certainly have an incentive to capture Spirit Wells that have been untouched for a while, which is usually the case when you're in a strong, defensive position. In addition, if you can ever find an opportunity to take Parasite, it can really turn the game around. In fact, in our playtest game yesterday, in our second game, that's what we saw, where we were in a bad position, we kind of defended an attack, we were able to force them back, we were able to take Parasite, get a kill in the process, and it started to turn that game around.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we threw it because we're big noobs, but we could have actually taken that advantage and kind of started to equalize the game via the large buff and global Vim the Parasite gives you.
Okay. So speaking earlier, we had the chance of we had the mention of the discussion about the towers near the Guardian, right?
Yep.
So somebody was Dotania was asking Dotania. I'm going to say that. Will you consider? Hold on, let me scroll back up to that really quickly. Will you consider changing the Guardian defenses? There are great feedback threads about his defenses, or will you stick with the 2-tower thing?
We absolutely will consider changing his defenses. Okay. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to put 2-tower version out for the community to test so that they can get their hands on it, right? The feedback of the community is only going to be more accurate and more useful to us if they've had experience playing on the map as opposed to only watching it, right? So it simply makes it more accurate feedback to have you guys play it first. But if the majority of the feedback is, hey, we don't want the double bindings part of the Guardian for whatever reason, it reduces the Guardian's kind of focus in the base area, has been one of the kind of reasons behind that, etc. Then we'll find other ways to address our systemic concerns with the map, right? We want to make sure that we're doing it in the right way, and that doesn't mean just the way that causes the game to end, systemically the way we want, but it also means the way that matches with the lore the best and kind of creates the most, epic end game boss experience. So all of those elements are important to us when looking at kind of systemic solutions here. This is one take that we've been experimenting with on it. There's certainly others that are available. So if you play the map, give us your feedback. Anything's possible. Basically, that's why we're giving you guys the map as early as we are.
Okay. Let's see here. So one of the things that, by the way, for those who aren't aware, basically what we've done is we've taken the 2 bindings that, well, not really. Well, that binding's still kind of right there. So basically, we've moved.
Well, those haven't moved.
The mini maps have not updated. So it's interesting. We didn't actually move these at all. We just added kind of another layer, then, right?
Right. Well, we did a couple things. I can show you where that space.
Go for it. That would be great.
there used to be quite a bit of space back here
Right.
that wasn't particularly used. It was mostly just visual fluff. You could actually move back further. Basically, what we've done is we've taken the whole kind of base area there, started going from this wall section back here, and we moved it back, using that space. So there's less just kind of dead space back behind the regen platform here,
Right.
and that bought us about 2-3 inches of screen real estate. We basically pushed the Guardian back, which opened up room to have this additional kind of open section in front of him. We stuck the bindings in that kind of additional 3 inches of space we got. So that's where that space came from. These
Okay.
bindings are relatively unchanged in their placement, other than the about 5% just total map scale increase that we've done as a
Gotcha.
result of the map change in general.
Okay. So this is an interesting thing right here. This binding right here, like you hear Scott Moore say this all the time. He calls this binding like a big trap. Like it's a huge trap. Is there what could you explain why he calls that binding a big trap, and if there's anything we've thought about actually doing to kind of address that his concerns regarding that?
I have no idea what Scott Moore's concerns with that binding are, actually, but
Okay. All right.
I would assume that maybe he would think this is a trap simply because it's much more difficult to kill than the other bindings. If you do attack it, you are by design in a more exposed position. You're kind of pincered between these areas. You have a much kind of larger concave on the defender's side than the attacker, so
Yeah,
it's more dangerous for sure by design.
he actually says it's a trap to defend that one. So
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it could be because by the time the team gets to that binding, that they may be strong enough that actually defending that could be dangerous. We'll have to get him on here with you one of these days and do like a developer slash producer roundtable on that.
That's right. Generally speaking, this binding's been working out mostly fine, so
Okay.
we don't have any large changes in store for that.
So somebody was asking if we've thought about adding some sort of like visual indicator of the bonus fame you're getting for your role. We actually already have that.
Well, we do. They may mean some sort of like total tally of it or something.
That would be a good point. Yeah.
There is a let's see. Why my cheats not work?
Because we're on Shadow. We're not on.
What?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to play this game without cheats? There is what you guys are. There is a bonus. Basically, the smaller Vim number underneath the larger one is
Right.
the amount that comes from your roll. So
They're gonna hit you too hard at this point in the game.
nah, no problem.
No problem.
It's a problem. It's a
It's
problem.
I was gonna say, Q, get away.
You'll take my word for it. It's there, but I assume that they were meaning a total. So something
Yeah.
that is it's interesting, right? It's something that we've been looking to want to do. So if anybody in the community has good suggestions on a way to do that, we would love to hear them. But that's kind of what, in the standard MOBA scoreboard here, right? You have your kills, assists, deaths, sure, that's fine, standard. You also have your creep score, it's also standard. The interesting thing about the role system is creep score is only
It's only part of the story.
it's only part of the story in Dawngate, right? It's very, very important for gladiators. It's not super important for like tacticians or predators. So, one of the things we've been musing about is basically making this column dynamic based on what role you are, and showing the element which is more important to your role, right? So like gladiators would show creep score, tacticians would show number of successful harasses dealt, etc.
Oh, really? Cool.
So you could potentially get an idea of, hey, what based on your role, what is more important, right? Hunters would show jungle creeps as opposed to lane minions, right? That's simply one idea we've been thinking about internally, but it certainly has not been done yet. But what the problem you're describing is one that we've been thinking about, right? Because we want to surface the aspects of the roles more clearly, so you can see, hey, why am I behind, or why is that guy? Why does he have a destruction and I don't, or CS is identical, right? We want to surface the differences between roles more.
Okay, so we had a question earlier, a couple of questions earlier, actually asking about the changes to the lanes, to the length and to the width of it. Somebody specifically asked, does it make skill shots easier to dodge now? But getting into that question and kind of going over the overall, like, why are we doing this again? Just to rehash. I know we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but let's just like rehash it again. Why are we widening the lanes? Why are we changing them in the manner that we are? That sheep disappeared.
The sheep vanished on me. So we are doing additions to the lane for a couple reasons. One is it was very, very difficult for melees to successfully exist in lane unless they were really, really bursty, right? Like we saw successful lane compositions with Freya, we saw successful lane compositions with Petrus because they're both extremely burst-oriented melees. That was really the only universe in which a character could exist in laning right now, right? Is that a universe in which they can burst you so hard they can kill you before you can retreat to your binding. On the previous map, the map that's on live right now, what you would see is you would see basically you were always about 3 or 4 inches away from the bindings, right? So you would, if you got attacked, you could disengage into the kind of defensive territory of the binding relatively easily. For any sustained based character like Volek, right? Volek's pretty bursty, but I mean, Freya, if you don't like double hit Q, etc., right? Moya's a good example, right? Any just pure auto attack based character, it's very difficult for them to exist in a very, very short lane. So we wanted to increase lane length for a couple reasons. One, it allows those characters to exist. It also gives us a little more freedom on the shaper design side, right? One of the reasons you see melee carries like Freya having such burst-oriented capabilities is because it was kind of necessary in order for them to exist in the current iteration of Dawngate, right? But this will give us a little bit more freedom in character design, as well as make those characters a little more viable. In terms of the lane width, that was done sort of for what you described, right? It allows for more skirmishes to occur slightly outside of the minion line. It was a little bit difficult. Minions screw up pathing, right? Like, if I can't cheat, no. Pretend I teleported there and then derped around inside that creep minion line. So it gives us a little bit more room, makes routing a little bit easier, allows you to do a little bit more, bush jukes in and out without attracting too much minion aggro. Allows you to have more room to kind of peek out, fire a skill shot, and then dodge back behind your minion line. Before, the minions kind of took up the entire lane width, or most of it, so it gives us a little bit more just kind of micro options in lane.
Okay, excellent. Somebody mentioned, Garwar actually, I think, mentioned a little bit ago, there's an issue right now where the minions can actually walk around behind the Guardian and not be hit by his auto attacks. I didn't know if we knew about that or not.
He'll still auto attack them from behind. They will. I mean, he is attackable in a 360-degree cone, and the minions will spread out all the way behind him. He will turn to face whoever he wants, and he can attack people back here, no problem.
Okay.
Unless there's some strange bug, which there totally could be, that prevents him, he should be able to simply turn around in his delightful little bathtub and attack anything behind him.
What's the little seal on his horn there? Is that like a little otter, or not an otter, like a seal or something?
That is a missing texture of something.
It certainly
it's a little, it's a little spirit guy.
Little spirit guy, okay. Little spirit dude. The minions don't take ability damage back there, though. All the abilities fire off in front of him only.
Oh, that's true, although he can cast his fire line back there.
Okay, cool. Who should I get in contact to get my gaming community into Dawngate? Send an email to community@waystonegames.com. So nerfs to Moya now that she's going to be super god tier with bigger lanes.
So while that's somewhat of a joke, right, it is something. We're doing 2 really big changes to Dawngate in the next couple months, right? One is the item revamp.
Yep.
We have about 30 new items coming, with about half of the existing items getting partial to major reworks, right? So there's a lot of item content changes coming. Actually, I guess there's 3 things. So there's that. There's the map update, which we're talking about right now, right? That'll be a really big change.
Right.
And there's also kind of a damage retuning. Right now, we think the damage values are a little bit too high, right? People vaporize a little bit too quick. We want to slow damage down a little bit to give people more time to react to fights, right?
Okay.
You'll still be able to 100% people, no problem. You'll just need a little bit more throughput to do it, right? So those 3 things are happening probably pretty close, probably within like a month of each other when they finally do happen. So that'll basically cause a rebalance of the entire game. We'll basically reevaluate balance holistically when all that stuff drops.
You must have been watching the stream last Friday night when I got basically just vaporized by a Zalgus.
Right.
I was playing Freya, and it was kind of hilarious. I think I just sat there kind of dumbfounded for a good 30 seconds, just like staring at my screen, looking at the damage recap, just baffled.
All purple.
It was terrifyingly purple, actually. Terrifyingly purple.
Right. So in order to like 100% you, a mage should be like 4-0, right, or have some serious leads. Right now they can do it with like 1-0.
Oh, he was pretty fed. Like he was playing Predators Algus, and I think he was probably like 7-0-13 or
Right.
something crazy.
Well, in that case, it's totally legitimate.
Oh yeah, no, it was absolutely totally legit. So, will the Hunter Vim bonus be seeing any changes now that there will be fewer overall jungle minions?
It's a interesting point. It probably will be adjusted to make sure that hunters remain competitive.
Okay. Rizzo6222. Every game I've played pretty much ended with one team having a huge advantage. I've never been in a game that was pushed to my base and was able to push out and come back for the win. Is there anything you are doing to fix this? So, I mean, I would say that that's anecdotal, right there, because I've been in several games where, I've been pushed in the game and been able to, at least kind of mount a comeback, right? Maybe not successfully mounted, but at least mount one. But your thoughts on the current stage of snowball in our game?
So I think the snowballing is actually in a pretty decent state in our game. It could certainly be improved, but generally I think it's fine. I do think that the issues you're describing are really prevalent right now on live, and they will get addressed. I just don't necessarily think that there's systemic issues with the game. Our matchmaking telemetry is showing right now basically that there's really, really big swings between people who are getting matched to each other simply because of a variety of reasons, right? There's a really big influx of new users every single beta event, right? There's like tons and tons of new people who have never played who are getting introduced to the matchmaking pool. And those people, right? As you're familiar with any matchmaking system, your first few games can allow you to move very quickly, right? So
Right.
they win a couple of games, and all of a sudden they're getting match made on the lower echelon with some higher people, right? They're like the fifth slot to get slotted in. They're like, I've played 3 games of Tongi, right? So that's certainly a frustrating element that will be reduced in frequency, both as the population of the game increases, which we're going to be expanding it as we continue through beta, and as well as matchmaker gets improved, right? So that's one element of it. Basically, in balanced experiences, we've seen pretty solid comebacks and solid games that push one way or another, right? So they certainly happen, and we're certainly going to be improving the quality of the experience in terms of making sure that snowballs don't occur as often as they may do now. But generally speaking, the experience that you're describing should be reduced in frequency just as the beta continues on into open beta.
Bill Blade 23 is asking, why are all the games 40 plus minutes? Are we focusing on late game, I guess? And Bill, I mean, first off, I would say that that's actually systematic probably of people just not knowing how to close. I look at most of the games that I play, and those games last 23 to 30 minutes max usually. The outliers are the ones that go over 41 minutes for me. Gasty, anything you want to say on that?
Yeah, I think it's related to 2 primary issues, right? One, like you described, is people not necessarily knowing how to close out games super efficiently in Dongate because it is a little bit different than other MOBAs. So, like for example, internally our games end very quickly. We have our internal games sometimes end in like 15 minutes, for example, right? The other element is it is hard to close out games. Like it's one of the issues we're looking to do or one of the adjustments we're looking to make rather with the new map, right? Is that it's really, really hard to close out a game in under 20 minutes right now, simply because the Guardian is so strong individually. Something that we're doing with him on the new map is we're going to be scaling his attributes so that they starts out much weaker and then scales just like a minion almost, right, in power throughout the late game. So he'll be stronger late, much weaker early. In addition to, right now, when you destroy a tier 4 binding, you get this siege goat, which really puts a lot of pressure onto the Guardian, allowing you to close out games earlier. So it is an issue that we're looking to address, but it's also compounded by inexperience with the game.
Right. Yeah, and that is one thing. Is like after you've played the game for I would say more than like a couple of weeks. I would say give it like a month. When you're starting to play with the people who have that level of expertise, you're going to find that your games actually go faster. That is just, and that's just kind of the nature of MOBAs and MOBAs in general. Like you find that in League of Legends, when you first start playing that game, you generally you and your team are derping around pretty hard, right? So it's gonna happen. Dota 2, I experienced the same exact thing. So let's see here. Blue Muzzy is saying you wouldn't need the goat if you decreased the hit points of the Guardian, increased his power, frequency, ability, and kept the 3 HP bars. Well, we're keeping the 3 HP bars. What do you have to say about the decreasing his overall HP and just not doing the goats?
So, I mean, that statement is correct in that we would not need all those elements if our goal was simply to make it so that the game would end whenever a push occurred.
Right.
We want to make sure that we have the ability for somebody to hold off a push and kind of stabilize from a defender's position. Like we want turtling to still exist. We
Yep.
simply don't want it to be as strong as it is now. So we want ability. Basically, one of the reasons why we pushed a lot of strength on these bindings is because when a binding is down, it provides a really strong amount of pressure onto the lane. If you can hold out and stop that pressure right until your binding respawns, then you kind of can stabilize again. So it allows for a kind of nice back and forth. It's simply we just need to improve the tuning on that back and forth so it's easier to close out when you're ahead and not as frustrating to be sieging like this kind of endless turtling defending a position.
Okay. Simro's asking, do the tier 4 bindings respawn?
Yes, they respawn in 5 minutes. Basically, it goes up to 14 minutes for the last one. So I believe it goes 5, 8, 11, 14 on the respawn times.
Okay, so we did actually reduce the overall respawn time of the outer turret then, right?
No, it got increased.
Increased? I thought it was at 15
Nope.
for some reason. Okay, so that was originally, what, 12 then? Or?
It was originally 12, and now
Okay.
it's 14.
Now
So
it's
generally,
14,
respawn
okay.
times have been increased as a result of additional bindings.
Gotcha. But you have more bindings, so.
Right.
Does the Guardian scale throughout the game on the new map?
Yes.
Okay. And any plans on a push rewarding role, so like a split pusher?
So it's interesting. We had that originally in the very, very, very early stages of Dungate. There was the concept of like a pusher. We've phased it out internally right around the time we launched because unlike a tri-lane MOBA map, pushing is just not nearly as effective on a 2-lane map.
Yeah.
Because you are, for 2 reasons. One, the chance that there's a dude around to defend it is higher. Right, you only have 2 lanes, but the same number of people. So that's one element. Like we found that the concept of a split push was much more difficult to pull off because chances are you weren't able to be kind of in a silo pushing a lane uncontested for nearly as much. It happens. So that was basically one of the elements. Basically, we said, hey. We put it in initially in the very, very early phase of Dawn Gate because we were like, pusher, that's a thing in MOBAs, right? Everybody has pusher, sure,
Yeah.
have a pusher role.
Why not?
And then it really was basically a trap because of the map just not very effective. So we basically phased it out and replaced it with some roles that were more suited to Dawn Gate.
Okay. That's about the hour there. So really quickly, have we announced the beta schedule yet this weekend? Absolution, we have not, but I'll go ahead and let you know the beta schedule is going to be Thursday through Sunday again. So that same 96-hour window to play some Dawn Gate. So 96 hours of Dawn Gate this week. So that should be lots of fun. So hopefully, we'll be able to give you guys some news on when the next patch is soon, maybe even today. Don't forget that we do have that. Oh, I need to sign up for the playtest today. Don't forget that we do have the Extra Life charity stuff that we just put up. You have until November 2nd to sign up and donate to Children's Miracle Network Hospital. And November 2nd, we'll be playing games all day long. What else? We love you too, Buell. Buell! Miss you, Richard. Why is it so hard for us to fix Dibs Q?
There's what's broken about DivsQ.
I thought we fixed it.
In terms of it awarding last hits to the right person, that is fixed now.
That is fixed, yes. That was fixed last patch. So, anyways, soon, maybe even today, Kappa. That's right. Anyways, the goats. Okay, Pluto. The goats are here. Are the goats there? Goats are there!
They are.
The goats have arrived. Those things are awesome. Anyways, thank you very much, Gasty, for stopping by and answering all these questions. Hopefully you guys got all your questions answered. If you didn't, feel free to ask them on either the Dongate subreddit or in the forums. We're usually perusing there, and we'd be happy to hang out with you guys and answer questions there. So until next time, though, thank you very much, everybody who tuned in. It's been a lot of fun, and we really apprate. Hold on, let me just get out of this really quickly. Leave that match. Yes, I don't care.
Has been annihilated.
Alrighty, your team's been annihilated. I'm sorry.
It happens.
It does happen. It happens. Are you sure you want to quit the dog? Yes, I do. Okay, so anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow, actually, and I'm actually going to be kicking off the stream early tomorrow morning when the servers come up, so probably at around 9 a.m. I'm going to be streaming from home because I'm working from home tomorrow.
All right.
And then Pluto will be kicking in probably at around like 12:30, 1 o'clock or so, and we'll be coming at you, not tomorrow. Wait, yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. It's
Tomorrow
Wednesday.
is Thursday. It's true.
Good
True story.
Lord, this week has flown by. So anyways, I'll be online tomorrow for playing from home, giving away some beta keys, doing all the fun stuff. So, and of course, we'll be streaming all throughout the weekend. So thank you very much, everybody, tuning in, and we'll see you guys mañana. Bye.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
Bye.